Okay, Nova fans, this is Chris here with Nova Pneumatics, and I got TJ beside me here.
I'm here, guys.
Gonna do a quick down and dirty overview of the NX1 Sentinel. They're starting to get, there's quite a few got out there now, and I want to break down some of the things that we've done on this that's different than the standard mediocre, 30-year-old, everybody rehashing the same thing, autococker stuff. This is the entry-level phase one that we're doing, and I wanted to break down each individual component so you actually see, what you're getting in this, and what's different from doing what's actually been done for so many years. Typically we always try to push things forward pneumatically, and I guess, TJ, we just need to start off with the front block, I guess, because that's probably the biggest questions we're getting. First of all, we did some things different on it. Yeah, hand me those over there. We've got a ram, which is pretty standard, okay, and you're familiar with it. So get it up there where you see it. Now, let me get the barrel out of the way so you see this. Something that I did want to do that's a little different that's out there. It always annoyed me that you had to have a stack of swivels and things. I actually built in the swivel. Let me get this in the camera view here. There we go. See the swivel? So wherever this positions, you can line up all the barbs pretty easily and clock them. And it does have standard O-rings, in the ram where they can be exchanged. Let me see the ram diagram too. That way, if you ever need to rebuild this thing, it doesn't have any goofy bumpers or things that you've got to deal with. As you can see, most of these are like the 104, 106 O-ring. There's some 90 and 50 durometer O-rings. Most of the bumper O-rings are going to be 90 durometer, where the actual dynamic O-rings are 50s. And this thing, once you get it, you realize this thing is super smooth and super light. It doesn't take a lot of pressure to activate it. In fact, most of the cockers we're building, when I put a pressure gauge on the low pressure side, on the recock side, we're running anywhere from 30 or 35 psi. So that way everything's not slamming, and you still got the quickness and speed that you need. Another thing is people are asking about doing a QEV on here all the time.
All the time.
QEVs on a lot of things that are out there, whatever. I don't really have an opinion about it. I think the QEVs make the ram vent really fast and move really fast, but it's way faster than the cocker can fire, so it's actually just putting a lot of strain on stuff. And I wouldn't suggest it. I wouldn't suggest it at all on this gun. It doesn't need it. The pneumatics that are on here are already, they're faster than you can pull the trigger. So you're just going to put stress on the recock system that you don't need. So there's the ram, pretty straightforward stuff. Comes apart very easily, unscrews from each side. So there's nothing crazy you got to deal with. What's next here? Here you go. This is one I've seen a couple of the guys doing reviews out there stumbling on. This is our LPR, and you'll notice it's pretty small in diameter. And this thing uses the same type of technology that we're using in a lot of our other regs with our Hellfire cartridge. And this thing is super accurate. It is super good response time. And I got this cute little swivel that's on this one too. It's kind of compact. I really like it. I'm glad I found this little fitting, but it's pretty neat too. This thing's easily rebuilt. Let me see the picture for that one too. I'll show the insides of it so you can see what's going on with it. No, let's go with this here. Oh, sorry. Yeah, there you go. That was TJ being useless. Okay, you can see the part that screws into the front block, and then you've got the piston and the springs, and it's fairly simple. I mean, these are standard zillion-year-old balloon filler type regs, but all the surface areas in this thing are actually designed to be job specific to the operational pressure of the Sentinel. So, and it also works really well. You know, this is going to work really well on everybody else's pneumatics too. But the one thing everybody's wondering, there's no knob out front here to adjust the pressure. Okay. Well, what you do, this is in the block, this turns. That's why the swivel's here. So you're going to turn this thing in and out and adjust the pressure. It's real easy. And what you do, it locks in place. So, you know, super simple, super clean looking. I also wanted to make a note. And by the way, I'm going to post these diagrams and rebuild diagrams on the website so that, you know, if you ever need to fix them, you can. Another thing I wanted to mention too, just in machining wise, which we'll go over this gun. I have an old 100-year-old German bead knurling tool, which I didn't do the standard knurling on here. It actually has a really nice bead knurl on it, and I did it on the bolt and on the rest of these, but it's kind of a nice little decorative touch there. Okay, so now everybody kind of gets what we're doing on the reg here and adjusting it. Once you set it, leave it alone. Doesn't need to be touched. Okay. Okay, we got the RAM, we got the LPR, and now, oh yeah, okay, here we go. Now, this is the thing everybody's been wondering about. And on the phase 1, which that's what this is, we've got a new style. And I hate to call it three-way. It's not a three-way. It's not a three-way on cockers. Those are 5-ways, okay? It's a 5-way valve. And this is a little different because we're actually using a twin spool in this. And it's kind of it's the same mechanism that we're using in the Tear Air system. There's patents and patent pending, blah, blah, blah. But that's the same thing you'll see in the Hellion and the N2. And we actually call this a trigger valve rather than a 5-way on here because this is actually the trigger valve. This actually is what's actuating everything. And it screws in very simply. And I did want to show you this when it's apart. The rod, your timing rod and this part of the seal is separate. Let me keep it in focus here. Is separate from the actual unit, okay? So when it's on the gun, if you're touching this or hit it or whatever, it's not gonna be, you know, hissing at you. And the actuation of this, what's so cool about it is the way this thing actuates is you've got a pretty wide range of setting your timing. And on a normal 3-way or 5-way, they've tried to close all the little nipples together and get it as close and as tight, and you know you have this little zone that the 3-way actually operates in. Well, this has eliminated that. It's totally. And the actuation of this thing is literally when you touch this little button in there, it's about 7 to 10 thousandths actuation. And once you touch it, it's going to activate, okay? There's no halfway doing it. It's very difficult to do that. And that's going to eliminate a lot of trigger problems, I think, that everybody talks about, especially beginner people with autocockers. I've got a diagram. Find that diagram for me, TJ. Yep, that's it. And if you'll notice here, it's backwards, but this is the actuator here, and it's pushing on our little needle valve here that sets all this in motion. And then, you know, you've got this little timing circuit going on here. So it's actually a really cool concept. I think it's going to solve a lot of the problems for autocockers, and I think you'll find it really cool. Go ahead, TJ.
People also, they keep asking why we haven't put out a slide frame yet. Well, because of the way that we designed this, that is the reason we don't have a slide, because we have to go in and redesign this little section just to incorporate the
Right.
pull part
Right.
instead of a push.
Right. Now, anybody that's been following, you know, all you hardcore slide frame guys, we do have a slide frame coming out. and we also have a version of this that's actually Mike Wood. We already have it. It just needs to be incorporated when we get the slide frame done. But that version will come out. So stop panicking. Like I was saying, you got half the world wants hinge, half the world wants slide frames, but. We've got a couple really neat slide frames coming out. We've got one where we're actually going to mimic the old bell cells that everybody knows and loves, and I've got a couple new trigger plates and sears coming out. I've also got a pneumatic slide frame coming out. And you'll see that in the future. There's a lot of upgrades to this. We weren't trying to put every upgrade that you possibly can do on a cocker. Otherwise the damn thing be $1,500. But we're trying to make the best $1,000 autococker for $500. So I hope that's why I'm going through all this stuff. We've got some new and innovative stuff out. So that right there. I'm going to do an individual breakdown video on these components up front, so we'll go into that more later. But I will tell you that when you're timing these things, and you know what, it blows my mind in the autococker world that how everybody just assigns such black magic to timing an autococker, and it blows me away. It's just not that complex, and this is even easier. Pretty much, if you've never had a cocker, what they're talking about in timing it is you want to be able to pull the trigger, it fires before it recocks. So this right here controls that. You can make it to where it's going to actuate closer to where the hammer drops or further away. That's totally up to you. And I ain't even going to begin to guess at how many ways people want to set that. So
everyone's different. I don't like the way Chris does it. Chris doesn't like the way I do it. Everyone likes their autocockers timed the way they like them.
Yeah.
That's why they're individual.
Yeah. So if you get one and you need a little help, just call us. We'll talk you through it. It's just not that hard. This locks down with a little set screw. You can adjust this so that it actuates sooner or later. But the one great thing about this unit here is that you don't have to fight it. Now, if you do it too far forward, which is pretty much impossible, because if this would actuate way before that would fire, so that obviously wouldn't work. But you've got such a wide range of adjustability without a lot of consequences, okay? So that's one great thing about this over the standard three-way, five-way that's been out there in the world. So also another thing we get a lot of people love, and it seems like a lot of the old timers or the elites hate, is having a gauge somewhere on the gun. I like a gauge on my gun, and I wish they'd come back. And you know what? We've heard a lot of people, they love the freaking gauge. So that we're going to leave the gauge on there. If you don't like the gauge, you can take the gauge off. But it's kind of a popular item. So it's on there. It's on there for reference and fun. Now these gauges are not as accurate as getting a liquid-filled big gauge, but they do give you an idea of where you're at when you're setting your pressure. We do send these out with it set to shoot around 280, 290, somewhere in there.
Like that, yeah.
And you do the adjustment from our Guardian Reg, which you'll see those on our website. We do sell those. Now talking about value and stuff, well, I'll go into that in a minute. Guardian Reg, which you know and love, has the Hellfire cartridge in it. It is a super fast recharging reg. It's capable of feeding guns way faster than this, so it's doing a good job on this. Next, let's talk about. Oh yeah, let's do the hammer kit. Yep. Okay. Now another thing I think is a great value on this thing is, hammer kits typically are pretty basic in some of the autocockers, especially the old War Games one. God bless you, Bud Orr, happy birthday, by the way. We didn't do the standard steel, hammer. We actually did one because, this has our balanced pressure valve in it, which there's other videos about that, but, it's got a super light opening force, so we're using lighter springs, and we've got a lighter hammer to shave off some of the inertia of the system moving in there. We've got a machined cocking rod, stainless and aluminum. Got a bumper here that you got to have. I've actually got two versions of that. IVG, it's got a little O-ring on it. Now, the IVG, I didn't make this thing pushed way out to where you got to just crank it in there and tear the O-ring up. Works very nicely, holds it in place. You'll see that when you get it. I would suggest usually we set it in the back, and you don't have to really mess with that too much. You're going to do your velocity adjustment from here, but if you need to adjust it, you'll have to take your cocking rod out here. Next thing, the lug and these little nylon screws. There's two of them. One of them we put down in the hammer, and you've seen these on upgrade hammer kits that cost $1 zillion, but we went ahead and did it on here. It really wasn't any big deal, but these little bushings, little nylon screws will go down in there, and you push it up against the lug, so that gives tension on it. So as you're playing, this doesn't move, so it stays where it's supposed to be, so that you've got the release on the sear that you want, and it stays there. Also, when the frame is off of the gun, there's another one in the bottom here which you can tighten up that'll put tension on your cocking rod. Because if you've ever played with a cocker, then this thing will loosen up on you. People put tape or Loctite, and that's really annoying. But this right here will put tension on that, so that it'll stay in there where you want it to. So I just wanted to show you that, because hammer kits like that, they're we'll go into what they cost, because I definitely want you to see the value in what we've done here, because we didn't intentionally, we're not trying to create a cheap autococker. This is a very well designed autococker that has some high-end features on it that we didn't mark up the way we should have.
Yep.
Is that a good way to put it, TJ? Because
pretty much, this is, when we call it an entry level, doesn't mean that there's anything cheap about it. We're just trying to get people into playing.
Yeah, and you know what, Bud? I hope you're watching this, because the one thing that in talking to you is realizing that this is a fun gun to play with, and cockers have never really gone away. And I think that our intentions here at Nova Pneumatics was to create a very nice autococker system that has everything you need on it for it to be a very fast shooting autococker, and it is. The way this thing's designed, you've got a light trigger pull. You can almost fan this trigger, and we wanted it to be a great value. And here at Nova, we're not a huge company. There's a few people here. We do stuff in the U.S. We do some stuff overseas, but we don't have to mark things up 4 and 5 times like you're seeing. Pretty much all the big boys. You're paying huge prices to support huge infrastructure. So don't think this is made cheap in any way. I don't know anything on here that we did cheap. Everything's made out of aluminum. Everything's made to last. The
one question that I get from a lot of people, and I probably get asked 10 times a day, yes, we did make all of our parts different. They're supposed to be kind of revolutionary, just changing the game, but we didn't make it to where if you don't want this stuff, it is designed to where you can put the standard stuff back on also.
Yeah, if you wanted to regress back to traditional stuff, you can. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, I will tell you, one thing that I didn't do that on is the bolt, okay? The bolt and the hammer, I did it because I profiled machined these back blocks, okay? Just like I cut out and this front block. These aren't standard looking things. The body, now I went more traditional on the body because one of my favorite autocockers was the old slab right hand feed body. I love that. It's really clean on the sides, and I got rid of obviously the rail on top, but I wanted to do things to where it did look clean, but it does have some fancy machine on it. But the bolt, and I have heard so much grief, and it's pretty much from the people who sell bolts, about I didn't make it fit their bolt. You're damn right I didn't. I'm sick of seeing your bolt. We need to do something different, and this one mounts different. And I do have this is the stock bolt, and it is multi-piece. There's 2 pieces of aluminum, and then you've got Delrin on the front and in the middle here that for the sliding surfaces. Okay, it also has a capture spring and ball, not from the back, so you don't see an ugly screw back here, but it's captured from this side, and you've got a different type pin, and it loads from one side. And don't feel like this is a dead end. I've got other upgrade bolts coming out for this thing. Some people like Venturi, some people like the supersonic nozzles. I mean, there's a lot of things we can do with this. And, quite frankly, if you're a cocker builder out there and you're making parts or doing stuff, wouldn't you like something new to have to make? Do something different,
And guys, Chris just showed me something earlier today that I didn't even realize. We're actually going to make it to where once you get this bolt, we're going to sell you the fronts to where
that's right.
You can swap to the Venturi, the open cores, different materials. We're looking at some Nylotron. I mean, it's going to be it's going to be set up to where you can actually make it your own. You can swap it as many different ways that you want, and it's going to be like the old days when every autococker is not going to be a clone of the one right beside you.
Right, exactly. And you know what, Mark Davis, at Mark Davis Custom Cockers, he talks about that, over the last year or two as I've talked to him about, all the guns nowadays, you go buy so-and-so and so-and-so on the wall. Every gun looks the same. They've got the same freaking parts every day. It's boring as shit, and I'm tired of boring. So, this thing is upwardly mobile. There's room for upgrades. There's room for new things on it, and I've got new things, okay? We have that. This is not a one-trick pony here. This Cocker project's huge. And if you've been following, I mean, there's actually a phase 2 and a phase 3 operating system you'll see in the next year or two as things go on. There's actually a newer balanced pressure valve. We've got new frames coming out. There's a lot of things that can be customized on autocockers, but I just wanted you to see that. Oh, and another thing too, dual baldy tents. And on my old autococker, I had the old Cooper T here, and that damn thing would wear out in about a year. Yep. But
the old brass ones.
The old brass ones. But these things, we actually got quite a bit of quantity of these rebuildable ones, and they're really neat, and they're simple, and there's 2 of them. So if one fails, you still got a baldy tent, and what do those things cost a piece out in the world?
I've seen them. Most of them start off around 25 and go up.
So literally out there, if you buy this aftermarket, this thing's $25. Yep. $25. Mm-hmm. Okay, so right there, this thing comes with $50 worth of baldy tents. Yep. Okay, yeah, there you go. Okay, well that seems like a pretty good deal to me. Also, one last thing, I integrated the feed neck. I profile machined around this and integrated the actual feed tube here is actually a part of the gun. And you can use any kind of standard, I think they call this an Empire type feed neck, but we've got this, and we've actually got an upgrade, heavier, different one coming out here soon too. So, there's all kinds of that, to be done and looked at in the future. So.
Guys, I've also been asked recently a lot about our ASAs. And yes, they were designed to fit other guns, but like normal, we want to test them before we tell you that they'll fit every single frame, every gun out there.
Yeah, because we just don't have every single frame out there. But we're gonna put our hinge frame up for sale. It'll be on the website hopefully sometime this week. Where all this stuff will come together, so that you don't have to worry about that.
Our grips are actually the same ones that we put on pretty much all of our markers, but we also have it to where our metal frame grips that are already machined and have designs cut into the aluminum frames will also fit these also.
Oh, we should have brought some up.
Yeah, I didn't think
we do have some 45s and some metal grip panels and stuff that are all machined up and engraved. They look really, really good.
At some point, I'm going to talk Chris into actually getting them color matched so that they'll go on some of the guns.
Yeah. Well, this is not the only batch of autocockers that's in the works. So, but this is kind of a standard. It's kind of a soft grip. I mean, it's just a simple 45 grip panels. I mean, I think someone called them cheap the other day, which, okay, they are. But you know what? I'm also not trying to put a $60 or $80 or $100 set of Hogues or Packmeyers or even, one thing to be really nice on here, probably old die sticky grips and things. I mean, the gun can be made and modified to your specs, Oh yeah, TJ. I forgot to talk about this too, but our front block, we've kind of cut it down and lightened it up. But also this thing comes with the front bolt here. If you can see that through all this mess here, there you go. But you know, these things are, I thought they looked pretty neat, and I liked them. They look a lot better than the old steel button head that used to go through here. But this is standard. These come on the cockers. So what does this thing cost?
All right, that was something I was going to then get at. A lot of guys, especially with our pump model, when we sell them, we make this as an option that you can pick up, I believe, for I think it's $25, and you get all of
Something like that, yeah. Yeah, if you bought a pump and you didn't buy your matching front block and lug with that deal, you're crazy.
Because this, for what we charge, if you go anywhere else, they're 3 times what we charge for these.
Yeah. How much do these things cost typically when you buy them?
I believe that this piece alone, just in black or chrome, is $60.
Okay.
Just that without the bolt.
Yeah, what's these bolts cost?
I haven't found no.
Yeah, because that bolt's probably 20 or 30 bucks. I'm not sure. But yeah, it comes on the gun. So, you know, I'm probably missing some other things people have been asking questions about, but we'll do more videos. But also I want you to notice too that our anodizing, we have what, 24, 22 colors?
We have 24 colors.
There's 24 different colors of these cockers, pretty much anything you could want. And some of them are bead blast satin finish, or y'all call it dust, some people. And then there's also polished ones. But I mean, there's a huge amount and choices in that. And the anodizing is beautiful on all of them.
And guys, at some point, we will be getting into doing cutting cars. It's just we're not there yet.
Well, that's kind of the next step, you know, especially when phase 2 and phase 3 stuff starts coming out. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. But, you know, also we have these in raw bodies too. You know, guys out there that are doing cocker mods and builds for people, you know, you'll have to talk to us, but we do have this stuff in raw, you know, where you can do your own cutting and carving on it. I did want to, you know, one thing that I want to make sure before we get out of here, we're getting long on this video, but one thing I wanted you, as our followers and people out there in the cocker world to realize is that if you start adding up, you know, we just went online and just looked at what individual pieces like this would be, because this is not stock autococker stuff. I mean, this gun would be $800, $900, you know, and you know, it's not that it shouldn't be, but it just doesn't need to be because, you know, we're making these in good volume and we want people to play. We want people to go have fun. Mech's coming back, you know, so, you know, if you have any questions about this, me and TJ are available pretty much 24/7, it seems like, but I'm going to go ahead and stop the video. If anybody's got any questions, they can always text or email us.
Yep. Feel free. Call.
Okay. See ya.